Well, certainly a number of condolences from the regional governments over the last several hours, but I think it really does speak a lot to Turkey's situation in terms of their tourist situation, in terms of who comes to Turkey, who spends money in Turkey. What we've seen over the last couple of years is acts like these terrorist acts, the failed coup back last summer. They've really put pressure on the Turkish economy, on Turkish tourism, and you've really seen who actually, the demographics of who comes to Turkey really changing, and I think that that's been quite visible, unfortunately, in the victims and the folks that were at the Beta nightclub. But it was interesting as well. If you look at it in terms of just how the president has responded, the Turkish president, you had the biggest support really coming from Russian President Vladimir Putin, who said they need to take on terrorism in all its forms. We've seen, of course, that relationship growing between the Russian president and the Turkish president, particularly over the last several months, despite several spats over the last couple of years, seem to be thinking that their geopolitical interests are in line. So I think that it'll be interesting to see the Turkish government's response. We've already seen such a major response in terms of putting security on the streets in the last several months post-coup. But, even when I was sitting in Istanbul last summer talking to the folks in government, they were saying we didn't see this coming. So there's a lot of questions about the Erdogan government, about how much support he really has among the people of Turkey. That for president was really split pretty much down the middle. So a lot of questions about how this government is going to be able to deal with continuing threats like these going forward.